that job is finished. You don't have to invest anything else into being an artist because your art is at a level to where you can stop being an artist. Now, what you have to do is stop making art part of you and make art a tool that you use. You know what I mean? So now what you got to do is you've got to decide who you are as a storyteller, because the jobs that you're going to get, every job that you get, every fan that you have, every person that looks at your stuff, that likes your stuff, they're not going to like it because of the art. They're going to like it because of the consistency of the story that you tell. You know, that they're going to get a certain feeling when they look at your art every time. What's cool is the moment I say to you, Martin Scorsese, boom, a feeling is evoked. The moment that I say to you, Steven Spielberg, boom, a feeling comes to mind. You know, it's different. And the reason why that's important to you is if I say, hey, you know they're going to do a Barbie movie and Martin Scorsese is going to direct it, you'd immediately go, that's not right. You know, because that guy doesn't work for that story. You know, but if you hear that there's going to be a gangster movie, you know, he's the man for it. That's how you're going to get jobs. That's how you're going to get fans. Because that feeling that your artwork evokes is going to fit this particular job. So what you have to do is stop chasing the fidelity of the line and start figuring out what you want to do. You know, start figuring out what's your genre. Is it action? Is it comedy? You know, is it horror? Is it sci-fi? You know, what type of emotion do you want to, you know, sort of, are you cynical? You know, do you want to put that on the page? Are you hopeful? Do you want to put that on the page? You know, is it depressed? Do you want people to feel terrible about themselves when they look at your art? All of that stuff is available to you. You just have to figure out what that is. You know, get yourself, I was saying to this guy earlier that the craziest thing that happens with us is by the time we're 8 years old and we're intelligent enough to recognize that our art sucks, we stop being a storyteller. Like every child that wants to do art because of storytelling. And then every child realizes that they're terrible at it sooner or later. And us artists, we just get into this thing of like, I need to make it better, I need to make it better. And we stop storytelling and we get into trying to make the art better. But once you get the art to a certain level, don't worry about it. Now go back to being a 7-year-old and start doing the art specifically for the story that you want to tell. And you've killed it because you know how to do all this other stuff. You've got a huge toolbox with all these tools in it. Now what you have to do is you have to specifically point to a thing that you want to do and use those tools that you have in your toolbox to achieve that thing. And then on top of that, decide if there's anything else you need to learn to add to that toolbox. You know, because everything, the way that I drew Domino is different than the way that I drew Dayman, which is different than the way that I draw Black Panther. Mainly because it's still within my world, but I'm going to go a little bit more cartoony with Domino. You know, I'm going to go a little bit more stylized and film noir with Dayman. I'm going to be a little bit more graphic, you know, sort of with Black Panther. So those are 3 stories that I can tell, but even I feel like I have to shift just a little bit to tell it more effectively. You know, so that's your thing, is you're plenty good enough. And all of this detail here, is that necessary for the type of storyteller that you want to be?